morning, and welcome everybody to another stream of our Pokemon Crystal Living Dex Catch 'em All session. So today we're gonna explore Mount Silver. We're gonna look at some Pokemons that show up here, some rare ones. We do have Larvitar and Pupitar here, which are some of the rare Pokemons that we need to train later on to complete the Dex, like the pseudo Pokemon for this region. I don't see us battling Red just yet because we are way on the level. His Pokemon are 70 and up, and we are just on the 50s, 60s. Oh, Dangela, see? Okay. Maybe we should catch this. Oh, it actually left. Oh, it fled. Okay. I remember. So in this generation, Tangela has like a 10% flee rate, and they could do it at any time. So we just saw that. Okay, this is on the red, so we could catch this. I'm still catching Gen 1 Pokemon here in the case I decide to maybe complete the entire Dex with the Gen 1 Pokemon. What that would require me is to maybe play yellow and then do some trading and bring some of those Pokemons. So we'll see. The thing is, like, I like to keep my Pokemon in the original region where they're supposed to be. Like, if you look at the Pocket Dex, it says like this Pokemon was caught in this area. So if it's a Gen 1 Pokemon like Dodrio, I would like it to say Kanto, right? But you know, I already have the Gen 1 Pokemon from Generation 3 games like Fire Red and Leaf Green, so I don't really need to go back and play the Gen 1 original games. But if I want to obviously complete the Dex for Gen 2, I would have to maybe at least run Pokemon Yellow, right? And I probably have to do it once or twice to reset for the starters and whatnot. However, Crystal does have breeding, so if in the worst case, we can do that, right? So since I'm playing in the morning, I'm going here to Route 2. I want to catch some Pokemons that are available during the morning, right? Crystal has that morning, afternoon, night kind of sequence for the Pokemon encounters. So we actually have an entry that we haven't caught, and I want to catch it for this run here. Oh, this is pretty high level Pokemon. Maybe I should be training my Jinx here for some. She could level up, and I know she learns a sleeping move, right? And so we give it the XP share here, and if I kill some Pokemon or I find some trainers here, then you know, we can level her up and make it easier for us to catch Pokemon. So again here, slow level enough, try to, you know, catch it just to have a Gen 1 Pokemon, and then if I decide to revisit this and complete the entire Pokédex here, at least I have some entries. So what I'm thinking here is bringing Jinx, do some chip damage maybe. I have Lovely Kiss, so I could use that to put it to sleep, and maybe that would be enough. There is still a significant difference in level, so I don't think one of the moves that would do little damage will actually get this done. So the problem is with obviously Lovely Kiss, it's not a 100% accuracy move, so we might take a minute or two to get this going, unless BG has a ability where it doesn't fall asleep, or I think that's on later generations. So I'm gonna keep trying here. There we go. So now it worked. That Pokeball now should be enough to catch this. Oh, come on, we almost had it. And here we go, Pokeball again. Oh, was close. One more. Oh, all right, we'll keep trying. Still asleep, so there we go. PG has been caught. We added to the Pokédex. Obviously, it's not for a challenge for Gen 2, but it is an extra Pokemon to have. Butterfree, another Pokemon that we don't have in our Dex. So I guess we're gonna do the same thing here. Bring in Jinx, and then try the same. There we go. Worked out right away. Oh wait, no, the pack is down here. Wait, what am I doing? Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. There you go, pack, and then Pokeball. Okay. I feel there's only like a, you know, maybe 10 Pokemons that are available here. The legendary birds, Mewtwo, Mew, and then the starters, I think, for Gen 2 that are not available. The Gen 1 Pokemon that are not available in Crystal. Crystal does have a lot. And then obviously we're bringing stuff from Gold and Silver. So here's another one, Caterpie. There we go. Pokeball, that was easy. Butterfree we already have, so we could run away from this. Ladybug, okay, we already have her, so we could run. Butterfree. Yeah, nothing here really. I mean, I like it how Butterfree is available here because it matches the anime. I feel like, you know, you get the Butterfree early on, and it's a good Pokemon to start, at least to get through the first few trainers, right? And he learns Confusion at a low level, and evolves, you know, at level 10 or whatever that is. So works out. Okay, well, I'm not seeing our Gen 2 encounter here for the area. It's a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon, so we'll keep giving it a try. PG we already have, so no worries there. Let's see. Yeah, see here across is a level 47, so we still need to do a lot of training to get us up to Red's level. Maybe we don't have to go to the full, you know, to the level cap or that upper limit. Alright, if we have good strategy, we could be a little bit on the level, but I wanna win that battle at least on the first try and not struggle too much on it. So maybe we do it once we complete the game and train. I feel like it is a good last challenge for the whole generation to, you know, maybe we do as part of the video. And here we go. This is the encounter I was looking for. So with this, we don't have, I mean, we could have evolved one, but I mean, I don't mind catching it. All right, there you go. It's asleep. Now we'll, let me see here. 1 second. So I'm trying to see if there's like a calculator for Gen 2 Pokeball and Great Ball, you know. I've seen one for the generations, and I know, like, I remember seeing a video on YouTube that said that catching here was broken, but look, the Pokeball worked, so we welcome that Lydian to the team. It's number 48. And I think that's the only encounter that I wanted to do in this area in Route 2, so I'm checking this quick. So yeah, there we go. Welcome to the team. And now we could go back to Mount Silver. And like I said, if I see anything good available, you know, in the as we go make it all the way to the summit, because that's where we could find our Pokemon. So Larvitar, I think, shows in the lower levels of Mount Silver, but you do have to go all the way to the top where Red is waiting for us to get the second stage Pupitar. And I feel like it's easier to catch that since it's going to be a pain to evolve it to Tyranitar. Tyranitar is one of those Pokemons in the difficult training curve, so yeah, so it would take some time. Alright, let me see here. I'm just looking at the kind of rates and, you know. Alright, level 48 for here across. Here we go, and this is a trainer, and we're gonna get some experience for Jinx here. Hopefully making catching a little bit easier later on. And I think as I move on generations, I want to start making utility Pokemons that I could bring up. Like, you know, in Gen 3, people use Meagle, and people that have False Swipe or Hypnosis or moves that will make catching easier. So, yeah, I might have a session on working on those. Alright, yeah, Route 28, back to Mount Silver. The duo we already have, so. And for the Tangela again, here we go. Let's try this. So, okay, don't flee. 10% chance of fleeing, so do not leave us yet. Alright, we're good, we're good, we're good. Gives us a Great Ball. The Great Ball will hopefully help us. Ah, come on. And there, it ran away. There we go. So I guess, oh, here we go, another one. Let's do the same thing. Alright. Oof. I might have to start throwing a ball right away, right when it encounter happens. Ponyta, we don't have this. We are paralyzed. Oh, look at that critical. Good job here across. We take the experience, I guess, in that case. We're gonna see plenty of these. Here we go. Oof. I guess Horn Attack is too strong for Ponyta. Maybe I need to change a move. Arbok we already have, so being paralyzed does not help us to run from these faster Pokemons, right? So that was an example of it. Yep. And then we tried again and it didn't work out. So for Alligator now, should clean this up. There we go. And I did kill that just to get that experience there. Alright. Oh, I need Flash. I forgot. But we have it. Bellsprout. Who has Flash? No, I don't have Flash in any of these Pokemon. Oh man. Well, good thing there's a Pokemon Center there. Ooh, Rapidash. Good. Alright. A bite. Okay, perfect. Maybe I could do one more. Ah, the roll didn't help us there. But Jinx grew a level, so we take that. Oh, here we go. Nice and easy, see? Oh, it was all calculator. Alright, we need a low roll. There we go, perfect. Flinch on red. So here we're gonna try catch it. And Great Ball should be enough. Oof, too close. Let's go. I'm not worried. We have obviously the type advantage with our Alligator. Come on, stay in the ball. Be nice. We'll try one more. There you go, Rapidash, welcome to the team. However, you're not part of these Pokédex, so we don't need to count. You don't count towards our total of 100 yet. Alright, let's recover that here across in the front. And I need to bring a Pokemon that I could teach Flash. So I don't remember who because I feel like Flash is a move that normal Pokemon should be able to learn, right? But if I remember correctly, mostly it's electric Pokemon I think learn it, and psychic Pokemon. Do I see anything here that maybe could do it? Look, that's the Rapidash we just got. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to see, you know, who would be a good option here for as a Flash user. I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence about what they're doing on the newer generations, where like, you know, the HMs are part of like your abilities. Like you don't need to have a Pokemon with them. You just, I guess, need to make it enough in the game where they're given to you. I mean, it helps. You obviously don't have to have an HM slave in your team, so it opens up for other things. But then at the same time, you know, I feel like it takes that nostalgia out. Where is... let me see. And And then obviously this being an old game, you don't get to see what's in your boxes, right? So Pokemon management here has improved a lot over the years, and I mean now it's so easy with like Pokemon Home and whatnot. You should get to, you see your entire boxes. You can move things around between games so easily. So that you could see that the improvements and how gameplay has changed over 25 years. And this is one of the reasons also why I'm kind of debating whether or not I want to go play Yellow. At least in Gen 2, the one of the updates they did was Bill tells you before the here we go, Psyduck. I could use Psyduck for Flash, a Psychic Pokemon. Yeah, we could teach it. Oh well, this one is my I forgot I had this as my HM slave. So Tangela, let's go. Let's see if we get to catch this one. All right, stayed in. Oh, good critical here, Crows. We'll take it. We'll take the experience. Let's hope that we get better rolls next time. Wait, I need Psyduck in this case. Flash. There we go. Beautiful. So yeah, so what I was saying is in Gen 2. Ooh, Magmar. Interesting. Perfect. Oh, damn, he's got a type advantage. Let's see, hopefully we catch it here. Sunny day, that's fine. There we go. So Magmar. See, this is what I was talking about. So Bill calls you and tells you, okay, you get to, your boxes are full, you can't catch any Pokemon. And then, you need to make it to the Pokédex to change the box. In Gen 1, that doesn't happen. So imagine like you are in front of Mewtwo, the game would not let you throw a Pokeball because your box is full and nobody lets you know before that, right? So like, let's say I needed this Tangela, I wouldn't be able to catch it, and I wouldn't know that I need to go back because obviously. So yeah, so it's definitely good to be able to change the boxes on the fly. And then in Gen 3 and so on, they obviously, if the box was full, they updated it so it goes into the next one. So it wasn't an issue anymore. But yeah, imagine playing Pokemon Yellow, and yeah, when that happens to you. So, and then it's interesting. So I was recently watching people completing the Pokédex in Pokemon Yellow, Red, and Blue, right? Playing the 3 games, and you have to, since there's no breeding, you have to restart that game multiple times and then trade. So I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, you need the fossils, right? So you need to play, that will make you have to play it 4 times, or at least 4 games, right? And in 2 pick Ammonite, and in the other 2 pick the other fossil. Then you also need 4 EVs, right? If you're doing a leave index, you need one to stay an EV, and then you need 1 for each of your evolutions. So that's 4. And then you need to restart for your starters. You do get 3 in Yellow, but then you need 6 gameplays, or at least start a game 6 times, where you choose 2 Bulbasaurs, 2 Squirrels, and 2 Charmanders. And yeah, so it is at least 6 or 7 gameplay. Obviously, restarting for the starter, those should be quick. You get ahead enough where you can go and trade, and that would allow you to just pass them to another game, and you train them on the other game with the boosted experience. It should be easier, right? Am I missing any other Pokemon in Gen 1 that like requires you to restart the game? I think that's all I can remember now on top of my head. But yeah, it's at least a 6-7 game reset kind of thing. So obviously in Fire Red, Leaf Green, you get to do it in just 2 games, and maybe restart once for the 3rd starter. But the modern mechanics make it so much easier. But we'll see, because I do like when you bring the Pokemon to home. I do like that whole icon thing that tells you the origin of the game. So maybe, what is this? Okay. Another thing is the items, right? I just picked up that max elixir, but sometimes you can't pick items, and then you have to draw up. And since, being able to manage the boxes makes it so much easier with the items in that way. So yeah, so but like I said, I like seeing the markings and the symbols in Pokemon Home. So for example, if you catch these Pokemon in the Virtual Console games, you have the Game Boy, like old school, and then the text says, like the good old times. So maybe I go back and catch all Gen 1 in the original Gen 1 games, because then that way that we get the little icon. Gen 3, I think Gen 4 and Gen 5 don't get any of the markings, which is kind of sad. And then it's also making me think about what game I want to play when it comes to Gen 4. One of my favorite games growing up was Platinum. I remember playing Platinum for hours, and it became more like my forever save kind of thing, where like I played, all Gen 3 games, brought everything over Gen 4, my legendaries and all that. Then I had Hard Gold and Soul Silver, brought that over to Platinum. So there's a bit of nostalgia there, and I feel like when they did that remake game like they did here for Crystal, it was always good games, like Emerald, like Crystal, Emerald, and Platinum. But they don't get the marking on when they go to home. Actually, they get the markings from the remakes, from Shining Pearl and what is it, Brilliant Diamond, or whatever the name is, Brilliant. And those remakes are good. They stay true to the game. However, I do like playing Platinum, so I'm trying to decide how I'm gonna do this, because if I play the remakes, the Pokemon obviously are gonna have the marking, and they will have the area where I caught them. Wait, once I should catch this. Right, and then but there's also now they have a mystery gift event going on, where if you complete the Pokédex on those games, they give you a free Pokemon, a shiny legendary, I think. I'm not sure which one that the Pokemon is. So if I will be killing two birds with one stone by playing the remakes. I will be getting the symbols that I want, and on top of that, I will also be completing that challenge and getting that Pokemon. But I do like the old school games, right? And because of that nostalgia on Larvitar, let's maybe catch this. Do I have anything that could do some chip damage? I think maybe I just Jinx here, do a couple ice moves maybe, and then that might be enough. If the sandstorm doesn't kill me, alright, we'll put him to sleep. Okay, yeah, it should be okay. And I threw a Pokeball here just to, see if I catch it, if I get lucky, and the sandstorm doesn't kill me. Hopefully the sleep lasts a few turns. Okay, I have enough for 3, maybe 4 more. Come on. If anything, we use a potion as well. Okay, sandstorm is over. Okay, perfect. Ooh, the sleep is lasting a few turns here. Alright, again, sandstorm. Come on, put him to sleep again. Perfect. Pokeball. Maybe I should do a great. Yeah. And so it's a level 15, I think I saw, which would mean that we need to train it up 35 levels, right? And given how hard it is to get experience in these games, that's gonna be an interesting training session. And the thing is, I don't have to play silver or gold far enough where I could maybe send them over there and train in the Elite Four on those games. Because that's what I've done in other games is I send them over, and with the boosted experience, it makes things easier. Alright, Jinx died, so we're just gonna put somebody else, and then hopefully get a chance here. Yes, oh man. Sandstorm is gonna go through my team before I even catch this. Oh, come on. Maybe Side Dog could do some damage? We'll keep trying, and if not, we'll try a different strategy soon. Okay, here are Cross Eyes. For Alligator, we got... The thing is, it doesn't matter because Sandstorm obviously does a percentage of health, so even if you have a high level Pokemon, you're still gonna do the same percentage damage, right? So okay, Sandstorm is now over, but okay, he's trying to lower my defense, which is good. Okay, there it is again. Great Ball again. It appeared to be caught. Here we go. Almost had it. These messages are lovely. I already spoke about them last time on the first generation. It appeared to be caught. Oh. She's not even an ultra. Come on. Look for Alligator's gone. Alright. We're gonna get Espion. That's actually not a good choice here, but because he's got dark moves, but obviously the level and the difference in level benefits us anyways. What I'm seeing is I don't have a lot of Pokeballs, so when I make it to the top, I might actually run out before I even catch what it is that I'm looking for here. Oof. I was hoping that Psychic will maybe what do you call it, be resisted and not kill there, but it looks like it did. Yeah, the difference in levels is too high. I should go back and heal and get some Pokeballs. Okay, we heal up, get us ready to go back out. We made some good progress on our Pokédex. We're almost at the halfway point here. 48 out of 100. A couple of those are starters that come from the different games, and some more Pokemon that are exclusive there that once we bring over. Easy. We do have to catch the legendary birds and some evolutions, so we do have some trade evolutions. So that's we're gonna have a trade episode later where we're gonna trade the Pokemon and complete some of those entries as well. We're gonna have to do some breeding to get the baby Pokemon. The good thing is for these Gen 2 Pokemon, since this is on the Virtual Console, it's gonna be easier to bring him to Pokemon Home, as you can use the Pokebank and Transporter to do that, right? So they go straight to home. I don't have to bring it through the many generations. Like the Gen 3 Pokemon, I had to bring him through Pokepark, and there you go, Ponyta added to the Dex. So that takes time because you have to find them again on the wild in the park and then catch them. And I think there's a daily limit of how many you could do, but I know you can move the time forward in the DS, and this March should have ultra balls, right? This is probably the last city. Yeah, there we go. Great, perfect. We're gonna buy 50 of these, or so. There you go. And then ultra, bring it up also. So there you go. That should be enough, I hope. If there's not enough, then we're gonna be very unlucky. So let's fly back to yeah, and here buy some Pokeballs. There we go. We get like 50 of these also. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, so we do have those. The Pokédex would be easier to do that, with the Virtual Console. I know bringing Gen 3 to Gen 4 isn't a daily thing, and then you have to obviously move the clock on your DS, so you would be bringing 6 Pokemon at a time. And then if they have HMs or whatnot, then or maybe some moves that are not in the later generations, you have to work and deal with them also. So we'll see how that ends up, how that transfer goes. And then Gen 4 to Gen 5 also has a mini game, and so on, until we get to the later ones where it's easier just to bring them to Pocket Transporter and Pocket Bank, right? So yeah, but I am excited, looking forward to the next generations. I know Emerald is quite a game, and it's got a lot of trade evolutions and things like that. So we'll see what happens there. And then what's interesting is in Gen 3, and I talked about this on the other Generation 1 video games, is Gen 2 are behind the GameCube games, right? So if you want to complete the national decks in Emerald using you have to play Gen 3, right? If you want to do it in Gen 3, you do have to play the GameCube games, right? And in the GameCube games, you can catch Pokemon in the wild. You catch them, you snatch them, you pretty much recover them from the bad characters, the bad NPCs, and these Pokemon are shadow, so you also have to purify them. And then once they're purified, you are allowed to trade into Emerald. So I know the Johto starters are that way. You could catch the middle stage evolution, and then you bring him over to Emerald where you could breed, and it's like 40 something. Because Leaf Green and Fire Red, they do have some Gen 2 Pokemon in them. Also, Emerald added some Gen 2 Pokemon in the Safari Zone and some other areas. So out of the 100, you could maybe have 40 available to you, and then the rest, and then, for example, if you want Ho-Ho, you have to beat 100 trainers, and then you get it at the end. And then Lugia, the way to get it is you have to play the XD GameCube game. So the second one that came out, you have to have all your Pokemon pretty much purified, and then you go into this chamber where like you put them all into like a specific sequence when it comes to like types advantage and things like that, and then you purify that way. So but you have to beat the game, right? So in both cases you have to beat and almost 100% complete the games to be able to bring Generation 2. And on top of that, Celebi is not a distribution. So when the Coliseum games came out, they had special bonus discs. One of them was for the US market, they gave you Jirachi, and then for the Japanese market, it it forced you to you obviously had to play the game in that region, and then it would allow to distribute a Celebi per purified Pokemon. So if you do the whole game, you will have 48, I think is the number, right? But what that means is you would have to play the game in Japanese, or there's ways now where you could convert your gameplay on the US game to the Japanese region, and then the when you put the CD in, it would detect that, and it will allow you to distribute Celebi into copies. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna read into it. If I do end up playing those games, is I don't know if the Celebi can be distributed into any region of Ruby and Sapphire, or you also need to have a Japanese Ruby and Sapphire copy, which I don't have. So I have English versions for Emerald and Sapphire. But I know Japanese games go for cheaper on eBay than the English ones. So maybe I look for one and buy it. I don't have a GameCube. I have my Wii, so I could play the games in the Wii and connect the Game Boys to the Wii. So I might have to do that, or set up one, some way to do it. But I know, for example, there was a, year 10 anniversary kind of distribution where Lugia and Ho-Ho were distributed to Gen 3 games, and in that you could technically get that, and there's ways now for us to simulate those events, those distribution events. Thank you to the people in Pokemon Project that have been, restoring those distribution rooms. But here, so we made it now. That's Red. We're not gonna bother him, because if we were, he would just sweep the floor with us. But we're here to catch, Larvitar and then Pupitar here as well. And I think that's gonna get us to where we need to be in, at least for this area and video. So okay, that was Lapis doing okay-ish damage, and then that should put in the yellow, and Ultra Great here should do it. Let me move around stuff. I don't want to use the Master Ball by accident like I did with that Butterfree that we had to restart the game last time. Oh, look at that. Pokeball works. There we go. Perfect. So we got it. That will be your number 49. Welcome to the team, Pupitar. Larvitar. And now we're gonna try to catch the second stage, Pupitar. I know it's a very low encounter rate here. I feel like it's a 1%er. So we're gonna be here for a minute. Some of these Pokemon we already have, maybe at lower levels, but when I'm doing the Living Dex, I'm not too worried about the levels or the moves. It's about having them ready, I feel that the later games make it easier to level them up and giving them correct moves. I've seen people who like to have like their Living Dex and Shiny Dex and whatnot, all of them at 100. But yeah, that is not the purpose. Here is to catch them all, not just do that. So okay. Answering. There we go. And hopefully it's at a higher level, so we can do some chip damage with, our Pokemon. Should I catch this just to have another one? We need 3. Either catch this or catch 2 Pupitars, as they call them. Thing is, like, the levels to get this is gonna be from 15 to, I think it's like 50. Let me see. Let me check here really quick. what is the Larvitar evolution level. So it evolves at level 30, and then at level 55 it evolves into Tyranitar. Tyranitar is one of my favorite pseudo legendaries. I really like the design, the Godzilla design that it has. And I feel like in the first few gens it was a menace. It was a Pokemon that was hard to deal with. It had good coverage. It was good on competitive Pokemon. It just sucked in the gameplay because of the high level, and it was always at the end of the game. But I feel like that's the case with a lot of the what do you call it, pseudo legendaries, and that's why they're pseudo legendaries. So Larvitar is, let me see. Okay. So Larvitar is actually also available in the Celadon cave, right? So I could have caught it there earlier. So yeah, so here at the summit, see, okay, so yeah, it could be from 15 to 20, so I can maybe look for a higher level one. Pupitar is here at level 20, which is interesting because technically their evolution happens at level 30. So we are finding a Pokemon under-leveled. So yeah, a little more training, a little more content, right? And it's sad because everything else, like Golbat, 49 to 53, Onyx, 48, Graveler, 48, Ursaring, 50. I look level 20. This is interesting, so maybe worth catching. Okay. Get some chip damage in, and then we'll put him to sleep and start throwing Pokeballs at it. So what I was saying is, Gold Dog level 45 available here as well, and then the other 15 to 20. So, and it's funny because they're not available during the nighttime. Why wouldn't they be available during the daytime? I mean, technically, it is a dark Pokemon, so I wonder why. But I guess maybe because they nest, right, and they go to sleep at nighttime. Maybe that is the answer. I mean, it's a small change. Okay, so we did catch here the level 20. So Larvitar, we caught you already. So we're gonna see if we find another level 20. Just to say some training, since we're still looking for that elusive 1%er. Okay, Graveler, we don't need this. I remember when I played this game as a kid, years and years, in the 2001, maybe 2002, when the game had just come out. Graveler wasn't my team, and obviously I didn't know the details that we know now. And my friend was playing, and he also had a Graveler, and we were like, "Oh, we need to," we didn't know about trading, or we did know about trading, and we were like, "Oh, how come we should trade to make a golems?" And then I remember we were looking, and we're like, well, how come the stats are different? Like, we're like, how come your Graveler is different than mine? And that's when we started learning about natures and IVs and EVs and all that. And I remember we used to look, and I think either mine was a female or his was a female, and we're like, well, maybe the sex has something to do with it. Maybe they're weaker or stronger based on that. So that's how I got into the whole like EV IV thing when it came to Pokemon was because of that, because of Graveler. I remember we had him as part of our team. And one strategy that we use, I think, is we had it with Explosion. So we would use, if we were struggling in a battle or something, we would try to use Explosion and save the bread. Maybe. I mean, I see it used a lot in like Nuzlocke, right, where people sacrifice Pokemon to make it through someone who's hard, or to open up an opportunity for a pivot or changing. So yeah. But obviously, when I was playing as a kid, there were no rules or anything. Like once it dies, you never can use it again. So to me, it was fun. Okay. So let me see. Battle with red. Pokemon Crystal. Battle with red. So he's got a Pikachu at 81. Oof. Charm, Quick Attack, Thunderbolt, Thunder. Okay. We could battle that Pikachu with a Rock type Pokemon, which we don't have in our party anyways. Espeon 73, Snorlax 75, Venusaur 70. Okay, so there's 3 starters at 77. I'm surprised they gave him Espeon and not like Lapras or something like that. So obviously the starters is obviously playing the weaknesses, right? So Venusaur, you could play a fire Pokemon, a flying Pokemon, even ice. Charizard, you just use for alligator for that, and then Blastoise would be or electric or plant Pokemon. Yeah, I mean, I'm just too I'm just too low in terms of the level. We need to level up a little. I know some people like to do some challenges where they use level 1 Pokemon against red. And I remember like seeing videos of like a bunch of theories of why red is in this mountain. Apparently this is where like he came to look for Mew as he's trying to complete the Pokédex. Because I mean, some of the theories they say like he was just unbeatable and got tired of battling, and then he came over here because nobody could beat him, right? But then we come and beat him because we are now the chosen one. Ethan is the chosen one now, at least in Gen 2. And obviously in later games you have the events and you're able to battle against previous trainers, but you don't do this in Gen 3 or anything like that, where like you revisit previous generations. That's why I think Pokemon Crystal was, or at least Gen 2 Gold, Silver, and Crystal were so good because it gave players obviously 2 areas. It brought you back to the beginning. I wish I would do something like this on remakes. I know that Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu were not the greatest, or like people for some reason don't like those games, but imagine having a Johto like version of it where Now you could revisit both, you know, that would be cool. And talking about that, I do have to play those games also because there is a Pokemon mystery gift, Pokemon gift behind catching everything in those two games as well. So if you, let me see, Pokemon challenge complete Dex gifts. I want to see. All right. So if we complete or gather Pokedex, right, we get a shiny Keldeo. If we do the Kanto from Let's Go Pikachu, we get a shiny Melton. Okay. And if we complete or Hisui Pokedex from Arceus, we get a shiny Enamorus. And then if we do the Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pro, we receive a shiny Manaphy. So, and then if we do the Paldea, Kitakami, and Blueberry from Scarlet and Violet, we receive a shiny Miloera. So that's what I was saying. Like if we complete the Pokédex in the newer games, we get shiny Pokemon, shiny legendary or mythical Pokemon, and that's why I need to. Well, we're gonna need to obviously. It's not we need to, but it'd be nice to do it in those games. So we get those shiny Pokemon. Hopefully they do not go away anytime soon. But yeah. And then what I also saw is for Generation 3, for Generation 3, if you play the remakes, okay. Wait, give me a second here. I'm trying to see. So Arceus does have a mark. Brilliant and Shiny Pearl do have a mark. Galar would have a mark. Let's Go mark. So Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee would have a mark. Then obviously Pokemon Go would have a mark in our Pokemon, and a Game Boy mark that comes from Virtual Consoles, right? And then Sun and Moon would have one. And then, okay, so here what I was looking at. So if Pokemons are obtained in X and Y and Omega Ruby and Sapphire, so that's generation, what is that? 7? X and Y is 6, generation 6, right? So generation 6 using Pokemon Bank and then moving it forward, it would have a pentagon. The pentagon would be the mark it would have, right? Then if we do Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, it would have a Black Clover, also like a Trials Captain kind of symbol, right? So alright, so then I will come from those games. Then the Game Boy mark is the one I was talking about earlier. Is for Pokemon that have been transferred from Generation 1 and 2 using the Virtual Console, right? And then only the first 254 Pokemon can have it, right? And then if they happen to evolve into a later evolution in a different generation, they could still carry it. So like if you bring a Pikachu and you evolve it as an Alolan Raichu, it could have the mark, right? And then Pokemon Go mark, obviously if you caught the Pokemon in Pokemon Go and then you transfer it through the Go Park or the Go Transporter, then it would have the G for Go. goal mark is obviously the first 151, and then the same thing with the evolution, and then Galar will be okay. Then yeah, so Pokemon obtained in Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5 do not have an origin mark. So everything that I'm doing, I'm gonna be doing it in Pokemon Emerald, and everything that I did in Fire Red, Fire Leaf would not have an origin mark. But it's all good. It just tells you that, how many forms, how many Pokemon, how many games, how many ways to do it. I mean, I was looking at when I began the challenge, the Living Dex challenge and catching everything. I was looking at how people were doing it just to maximize the time and try to make it as quick as possible. And most people played Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire because there were better games, better gameplay, but better mechanics, and a lot of Pokemon are available there. Then they will play the other games just to catch, but I do like, obviously, I don't want a Charmander being caught in Emerald, if that makes sense, from the Hoenn region. I don't want that. I want a Charmander from Kanto, and I think that's what is making this a little harder. What is it? It makes me play the original games, which also is good, because there are some games that I haven't played in a while, or at least I don't remember playing a lot. I didn't play X and Y. I don't think I played X and Y. I definitely did not play Ultra Moon or Ultra Sun. So I know, and I haven't played Arceus, right? So I gotta play that. And then when it came to Scarlet, I only played Scarlet, so I could now play Violet. And then for Sword and Shield, I play Shield, which I haven't finished. I do have the expansion pack and all that, so I need to play that. So yeah, there's a lot of things to do, which makes it fun. More streams, more videos, more of these out there for me to share the journey and see what you guys have to say, and maybe you guys can help me improve the gameplay and how to make things easier. So yeah, I keep on going through the different encounters here in this area in the summit. It feels like I'm doing a 1% sort of like encounter rate here. So if I remember correctly, yeah, so is Crystal. Let's see. Wow, Pokemon. Because I remember, I don't know if it's maybe Gen 1, and not Gen 2. But I know that in the original, or in some of the games, you didn't really have an encounter rate. It was considered like rare. Okay. So, this is hard gold. I want Gen 2. Okay. There we go. Crystal. This is outside. I want the summit. That's a water 4K. Okay, that's red. Yeah, it's a 1%er. So during the morning or the day, Pupitar here is at 1%. Larvitar is at 9%. And then everybody else is 30, 30, 20, 10. Pokemon will we be catching at level 20? We already talked about that, so level 20. Well, we need 2. So we technically be doing 2 1%ers. So it might be worth, if they're at level 20, I might just catch them at level 20 when the Larvitar shows, and then it will be the same amount of work, right? The evolution will still happen. It's just now it's a matter of level. So whatever comes first. Okay. Yeah, so Krista actually has quite a few 1%ers. We Sing in the Burnt Tower is at 1%. Yanma is at 1%. Sneasel in the Ice Path is at 1% on the night only. Jinx was a morning and day only 1%. Dunsparce on the Dark Cave is at 1%. Jancy on 13, 14, 15 is at 1% there. So do the newer games have 1%ers? Yeah, I mean, they seem to have some rare Pokemon. Obviously now with how they spawn, it's just, I don't know where the percentage is went, right? Now Fire Red and Fire and Leaf Green have quite a few 1%ers too. I mean, a lot of them are the what do you call it? The Safari Zone Pokemon. Okay. Yeah, so it's gonna be, it's like level 20. This one could be something we could catch. No. Yeah, shit, I maybe stayed on that one. Just, I guess we're here for the long run, right? This will show how. But, you know, like when I was playing this game, I didn't know anything about encounter rates when I was a kid. So how would I know to be here for 100 Pokemon so I could catch somebody? You know? Like the only way you would know this is if like one of your friends did it, or he got extremely lucky and he's like, oh, look at the Pokemon I caught, and I caught it here. And like, you're like, no, that's a lie. I never seen it. Then you know, that would be the way to you would know, unless you had the actual official guide and like, or you went to online and got all this information. But you know, I didn't play these games with a computer next to me. I sat in the couch or like in my bed and I played the game. And I think that was the good thing about it, right? It's probably what made us fall in love with this game is that ability to explore and like find new things as we grinded more, right? You were leveling up, so now you evolving your Pokemon, you getting new things, like you get to battle higher level Pokemons and things like that. So I can see why this game is it's what it is now, right? The issue now is that they have copied the model, and through 9 not to 10 generations is pretty much the same game. You know, it's just added mechanics, but the concept is the same. You are the chosen one from a small town. you know, you're giving a starter Pokemon that is only one off, or you know, very limited ones in the world, and then the legendary Pokemons love you, and like you have this special connection, and you know, and then you beat a organization or a group of people, right? And by the end, you become the champion, and then you fulfill that need to be the one, to become the one, right? So, you know, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I, as long as I'm capable and I'm still playing games, I'm probably gonna buy the next Pokemon that comes out. Um, but I feel maybe for newer generations that didn't grow up on it, and not just playing it, but also maybe watching it in the anime when they were kids, you know, they might struggle. It's just that now, you know, it has become the shiny hunting and things like that that people like. So yeah, obviously they're not going anywhere, especially with TCG, like the trading card game, and you know, things being as expensive as they are, and people literally fighting in stores to get the new packs, you know. But I wonder what it would take for them to go under, right? Like, how many more quote unquote bad games there need to be, or I don't know. But I feel that is what Nintendo does. They have these franchises, right? Maybe 10 franchises that they're good at, and no matter the year or the game, people buy them. You know, Mario, Donkey Kong now with the Switch 2, and Mario Kart. You know, I'm sure when Zelda comes out, people will love that. The new Pokemon games coming out soon. So yeah. Okay, level 20. I should have put a tracker here to see how many of these are we catch. You know, how many Pokemons are we encountering, and look at the, you know, is it really are we really gonna be over odds when it comes to this encounter? You know, is it really gonna be a 1%er, or maybe we get a little bit lucky, kind of like what we did with Chansey and Pinsir in the Leaf Green and Fire Red gameplay. So yeah, so I mean, what we're trying to do is keep track of those encounters. It's a bit different because Chansey and Pinsir were 4% encounters in the areas that we were hunting them in the Safari Zone. Here, I think Pupitar is a 1% encounter, which is a bit different. And I think we've seen over 100 Pokemon now. You know, we've seen Onix, Graveler, and all of them. So it'd be nice to see if we were over the odds, just to keep track. But you know, we're gonna have to continue and just come up with something else instead. So yeah, so I mean, we're already too far in to start a counter, but I guess we could start playing a game. We could keep track of what shows up. Right here we have an Onix, and I guess for the fun of it, we'll give them names, right? So let's name this Onix Oscar. I don't think I'm gonna catch it. Obviously, we don't really need Gen 1 Pokemon. Although, do I have it where I could evolve it to Steelix, right? Because we're gonna need one eventually and then you use the metal coat item and trade it. So we're definitely gonna need that trade episode later on. It should be coming soon. What I'm gonna do is, you know, it feels like I'm repetitive to play the same gameplay again, especially given that it is a Gen 2 20-something-year-old game, right? So for the sake of content, I might just play it off stream and then get far enough on silver where I can catch some of these Pokemon. Yeah, so I already had an Onix, so I probably already had thought, you know, to do that. Oh, here we go. So this is Oscar's little brother, Omar. There we go. Nice and easy experience. Oh my, 3 in a row. That's interesting. So what's another O name? Oscar, Omar. Oh, yeah. Can't think of another name with O. Alright. So, you know, I'm starting to think that Nintendo lied to us and that Pupitar is not here at all. You know, I don't see it here. So, I mean, but how bad can it get, right? Honestly, hunting down this rare Pokemon is what makes this challenge fun and frustrating a bit, you know. I mean, what's been the worst one so far? I already talked about Chansey and Pinsir. I don't think I remember anything being worse than that. Maybe a Dratini on the Safari Zone, but while fishing. And this is like 5 or 6 Onix in a row. That's interesting. Graveler. Okay, so this is gonna be George. So yeah. So I mean, the RNG sometimes in these games can be a pain, especially in the early games when like coding, that you know, Game Freak didn't do such a good job in the code, and sometimes it's messed up and it just produces things that it's not supposed to produce. Here you go again, Onix. I'm starting to think that like this Pupitar is in disguise. Maybe they're hiding, you know. Honestly, you know, if I could probably maybe even find a shiny before I even find Pupitar here. And in this game, you know, your front Pokemon doesn't make a difference in the overworld. So it's not like Feraligatr is making any difference in terms of the level or, you know, the ability or anything like that. You know, and if we talk about Ursaring, so this would be a U name, interesting. Ulysses. So, you know, if we talk about math, right? If Pupitar is 100, it's a 1% encounter, it means that 1 in every 100 wild Pokemon should be a Pupitar, right? On average. But that's the thing, so on averages, it's all based on stats and probability. RNG doesn't care about that. So, you know, it's really not about fairness or not about like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen at 100. It's more like, okay, it is a chance, right? So, I mean, I know on Red, we did catch, what was it? Was it Red or Fire Red? We did find the Pikachu in the forest being a 5%, like, I think it was like a first encounter. So, you know, but that's the thing with RNG. You know, RNG is like flipping a coin, and you could technically get 80 tails in a row, you know, because that's just how things are. I mean, the possibility and the probability is really low, but that's just how it is. But oh well, we keep on hunting here, you know. Hopefully we find this soon. It would have been nice to have the tracker, we could see the odds, right? And if I don't get to catch it on this stream, what I do is I prepare the counter for the next one. I think that would help us at least know how we're doing in terms of the raid encounters and, you know, seeing if we're over odds or not. Like, honestly, it feels like a shiny hunt. Obviously, the odds are way different because what is 1 in 8,100 and something to find a shiny Pokemon, and this is 1 in 100. Here's another Graveler. All right, I think we should start playing a game. You know, and the game could be who's not Pupitar, right? Here we go. Oh, level 20. You know, this is, oh, I went too quick. I'm starting to think I should just catch him at level 20. And then, I mean, in terms of levels, it's the same amount of levels, but now I think I'm on a mission to just find this guy. It has to be here. It's just, we've been unlucky. Okay, Graveler. No, you're not Pupitar, so you're definitely not. You're gonna be banned out of this game. So what I like about a lot of people say that Pokemon Crystal is one of the best games, right? Obviously, it is sort of like an update on Gold and Silver, and it was like the first game to introduce the animations on the sprites, and it also kind of added the whole like Suicune story arc, right? And then it also was like the first game that kind of allowed trading using a mobile, right? But that was in Japan. It didn't come to the US though. I think they were using like an adapter that you could connect to like a phone or something like that. So, but yeah, Crystal was definitely that one game that was a defining part of my childhood. I remember like staying up late, no backlit screen, and having to like be on a lamp, just to see the top, just to see the screen, and it obviously brings a nostalgia level to it, like the good memories, right? Okay, GoBot. Oh, he survived this. Hmm. Did the I don't remember seeing Ursaring earlier on. Maybe are we in the afternoon now? That could be it. This is at level 20. So I guess while we grind, I like to ask you guys, and maybe you can put it on the comments or the chat. Is what's your longest rare Pokemon hunt? Like just drop those horror stories in the comments. Was it like a Feebas in Gen 3? Maybe looking for like a shiny Eevee, or like soft resetting for a legendary Pokemon being shiny. I know Safari Zone Pokemon have been crazy, so it'd be good to know what you guys have seen in the past. I think my longest hunt, or at least the thing that took the longest for me, and obviously it's because of the odds, is when I was young, I used to ride the bus a lot, and I remember I had like a 1 hour ride, and I was trying to breed for a for perfect IV Pokemon, right? So I remember I started with the parents, and it was in Gen 3, it was an Emerald. So in Emerald, you're guaranteed that 3 of the IVs are passed down from the parents, and they're random, right? You don't have the power items or anything like that. It just happens at random. So you cannot start building up from having one perfect IB to then put those 2 parents together and hope that their child has 2 of those IVs, and then you make 2 child, so a male and a female, and then you put those in, and now you have 4 perfect IVs distributed in 2 Pokemon that you're hoping that you pass 3 to the child, and then you take those 2 childs again, put them back in, so you get another one with perfect IVs. So now, and then you do that again with 4. I think that was the best I did with the parents, was have them have 4 perfect IVs. So maybe one of them had 5 once I got to the 5. But yeah, I remember like I probably went through thousands and thousands of eggs. Like I remember having like my Game Boy Advance, and I just had like, there was a trick with the coin where you could put a coin on the joystick to make it move. But I would just sit on the bus at like 1 hour ride, and I would just like go back and forth and try to hatch. And then in Gen 3 they introduced the overworld effects. So Pokemon that have like the flame body, or like the whatever the name of the ability is, it lowers the amount of steps by half, right? It cuts the amount of steps by half. So that's probably my longest. And I wasn't even trying to get a shiny, because if I was trying to get a shiny, it would have been worse. But I think that was probably my longest hunt, and I did get lucky. But I mean, the odds are crazy, because you get the 3 from the parent, and then the other 3 have to be perfect, right? So you have, 32 possible outcomes for each IB, right? And yeah, so I don't even remember if I did manage to get a 6 IB Pokemon. Maybe it was 5, and I was happy with having 5, right? I gotta look, because I think I may have that save file for that when I was playing back then. I think I had that game, like I was able to extract the save from the game. Yeah, because that's what the cartridge that I have for my Emerald and my Fire Red is from years ago. So I definitely had to have that save file somewhere. I'm gonna see if I could pull it up and then I show it to you guys on a future stream. But yeah, there's definitely some long runs. I seen people reversal in YouTube. He did Feebas hunt. And Feebas being like a 1% encounter, and then it's a hard Pokemon to find, and then he was looking for a shiny, so it took him years and to do. And like I like what I think I may have mentioned it before. 40 Cakes in YouTube has a bot that plays 24 hours, and it's been playing 24 hours for, I think he's up to 900 days now, over 900 days, where he's doing the Professor Oak challenge for shiny Pokemon, right? And he's doing it full odds. So he's playing Emerald, and he's maximizing everything, using all the items, using all the abilities, using everything, repel tricks and levels and all that. And yeah, he's still not even, he might be halfway now, and it's been 900 days, almost 3 years. So that's insane. So, I'm still debating what our final team will be for when we battle Red, right? Because obviously for Alligator, it's going to be weak to 2 of his Pokemon, the Pikachu and the Venusaur. Maybe we could do so Ice Punch or Ice Beam with Venusaur, but trying to think who else. Who do I have for Pikachu? Maybe Espeon, and then for his Espeon I could use my own. But I definitely need to level up, Snorlax is somebody with fighting moves, maybe Heracross. Charizard would be for Alligator, that's fine. Water Pokemon. For his Blastoise, I don't know, because I technically don't have an electric Pokemon. The best electric Pokemon in this gen is in the other game. It's not available in Crystal. So maybe I could just bring him over, train him really quick. He would have boosted experience. So maybe I gotta do something like that. Bring it over. Maybe even the Tyranitar the Pupitar I catch here, make it a Tyranitar. That would be a good Dark for Espeon and a Rock Pokemon or Ground Pokemon for Pikachu. So that could be somebody I could bring in. Some good moves. I mean, he was really good in Gen 2, He had a total like 600 stats when you put it all together. I mean, he was a beast. He is the pseudo legendary, right, for the area. I wonder which is your. Put it in the comments, guys. What is your favorite pseudo legendary Pokemon? I think mine is. I would say Garchomp. The thing with Garchomp is like since the champion has it, right? Like Cynthia has it. It feels like a very standard cookie cutter kind of thing. But Garchomp is one of my favorite ones. Metagross is good. If you think about it, that Emerald has 2 pseudo legendaries in it. It has the Bagan line, the Salamence, and then Metagross. Yeah. No, but I think Garchomp. I do like Garchomp. I do like Dragapult in Sword and Shield. I like the concept of it, right? The dragon with the ghost and like it shoots the torpedoes. I feel like that's a good design. I didn't get to use it much in the game, but I feel like that's good. The one Pokemon I never used was Mega Tyranitar, and I feel like a lot of the pseudo legendaries have Megas. And maybe now with the new game coming out, we might have more Megas. Dragonite was good back in the day. I mean, I feel like every dragon was good until Fairy type came out, and then yeah. So in Crystal, Tyranitar doesn't get the Sunstream ability yet because the abilities were not introduced into Gen 3, but it still like hits like a truck, and you know, like I mentioned, it had that has insane base stat total 600. So you could put Crunch on it, and then obviously give it some maybe Earthquake or Swords Dance. I think it learns, and you can make it a really good Pokemon. Even though it's weak to fighting and it's weak to water. Water is being a very common type, but it can hold its own. I think it does lend Thunderbolt, so it's definitely a good Pokemon. Okay. We begin Graveler like crazy. What would be funny if we get a shiny Graveler, we try to go to catch it, and it does Explosion. I remember I had that happen to me, but it was a Geodude. Like at the beginning I was replaying Heart Gold or Soul Silver, and you know, like at the beginning you could just go up that, like in the first route you go up, there's like a little patch and Geodude is there, and you know, he came out and I was like, oh, I'll go catch it. I think it exploded, and I think I may have mentioned it in my other streamers. I think one of my first shinies, I freaked out and I thought the game had glitched, and I resetted the game because I was worried that something was gonna happen. Then I learned about shinies. I think Gen 2 was when I learned about shinies. I mean, I think it was when they were introduced, or at least they were obvious with the red Gyarados. That's when I kind of. But I never been a shiny hunter. Like go after shinies. What I do sometimes is if like there's an event going on, right, where like the shiny odds are increased and then the encounters are increased. Like it happens a lot now in Scarlet and Violet. We have the weekly or the monthly, like what are they called? Oh my god. Anyways, a lot of them are spawn. That's when I say, okay, you know what? Let me, since I'm playing, I'm doing a raid or something, I just go and try to find a shiny. I caught like Porygon was one that was out recently, so I caught a couple shiny. So I have 3. So if I ever want to make like a shiny Dex or something, I have the 3 for the evolutions. There was another one with Meryl. Meryl encounters were increased, so I caught a shiny one. And I feel like the Pokemons where the shiny is very different than the original are easy to see, right, on the overworld. So Meryl is green, so you have a bunch of blue ones and a green one you see right away. But there's some Pokemons that it's really hard to tell. Like the shiny is very close to the so I've seen people like hunting and like you know, like standing in front of the Pokemon for like a minute or two and being like, oh wait, is this shiny or not? I like the feature they introduced where like you could log into a wild Pokemon and it tells you like the level, the name, and like it gives you some like details about the Pokemon if it has markings and whatnot. It'd be nice if it would have the shining, like the like a little stars, like something that tell you, okay, this Pokemon is shiny. You know, I feel like that will make things a bit easier. You know, so on that point, you go, you. I know that what people also do is they do the. You could have your Pokemon like battle them, and your Pokemon would not kill it if the Pokemon is shiny. So you could send your Pokemon out, kill everybody or battle everybody, and if it doesn't defeat that one Pokemon, that means that one Pokemon is shiny. So, but obviously when you are in the overworld and it's like 50 Pokemon, you know, they try to come and battle you also, so you could lose sometimes like that. But it's good. I mean, I like those improvements, and we'll see what they bring in Gen 10 and the new games that are coming out in a few months. I pre-order my Pokemon AZ. I'm hoping that that's a good game. I haven't played Arceus, so I still have to play that. And I'm gonna play it as part of the Gen 4 because I feel like that's a Gen 4 game. It's got all the legendaries, like all the past versions are characters from the game, the Gen 4 games. So I feel like that would be a good place to play that game. And I feel like it's a bit more modern, so it would change. It would give it would give us a new type of gameplay, and you know, we'll go away from the 20-year-old graphics that these games that we're playing now have, right? So we've been here for a while now. Like when I was a kid, this wouldn't have been a lot. Maybe my Game Boy would be sweating and getting ready to die on me over the batteries. You know, I remember when I was a kid and I wanted that Game Boy. It was $69. Nice. And I remember I wanted it, and my mom was like, well, you gotta save money. So like I saved for like months, and then I had the money, and we got it at a game store in the flea market. It wasn't even like GameStop. Like I remember we were in the flea market, and I think somebody had a open box used Game Boy Advance, the original model, not the SP, the original, and they had it on sale for $59. So I was able to save $10. Obviously, I'm buying it from the flea market, which maybe now I'll be suspicious about, you know, because you never know what you're getting. But no, I mean, I still have it actually. I still have that Game Boy, and I've been thinking about updating it to like adding the IPS screen and modding the some of the stuff so you could actually charge it with like a USB-C, and you know, modernize it to more recent times. But no, I did buy the analog pocket to play this old game, so I could do that as well. And then I do have the docking station on the analog pocket where I could you know, capture the gameplay on the computer, so I don't have to worry about, you know, having to film my Game Boy Advance instead. I do not have a capture card on my 3DS. However, I know that you could either install a capture card on it. It's like $200. So let's see if I do that. Or there is another ways to stream the gameplay from that into the computer. So I see what I do. Because my 3DS is what I'm going to be using with obviously Pokémon Bank and Transporter and all that to start bringing some of the newer, to bring some of the Pokemons into home. And also like I can play my DS games there as well. And then that way I can show them, display them here on the computer. A while back, I bought a dongle that allows you to create backups, legal ROM backups of your games. So I could always do that and use the emulators on the computer, since I have the ability to do legal backups of my games. So yeah, and I've been trying to expand my collection. I have pretty much every game for every generation. The only thing I'm missing, so for the 5th generation, I have Pokemon White and I have Pokemon Black version 2. So I know if I play them together, I can complete that Pokédex. So I don't need to have Pokemon Black. The same thing for Ultra Moon and Ultra. Oh, what is this? That's a shiny Graveler. That's a shiny Graveler. Oh wow. This is a shiny Graveler. Okay, we're gonna try to catch it. What should I do? Should I just let's throw an Ultra? And there we go. We got a shiny Graveler. What is this? We have a shiny Graveler before we caught a Pupitar in this area. How funny is that? How funny is that? Oh my god. We've been here and we're talking about so much, and like, look at this. We caught a shiny Graveler. And I was worried. I didn't know what to throw. I even thought about throwing the Master at some point, but shiny Graveler. How about that? I think that's our 3rd shiny Pokemon in this game. We have the Gyarados, right? Now we caught this Graveler, and we have the shiny egg, the odd egg that is given to us that has a high chance of being shiny. And from what I've seen, some people struggle with that egg to bring it up in the generations, because I think there's like an issue with the PID or something, that Pokemon Transporter or Pokemon Home doesn't allow you to bring it up. I gotta check and then see what happens, but we found a shiny Pokemon before we found the Pokemon that we're targeting. That is Pokemon right there for you. And I think that is our first shiny, full odds shiny in this challenge. We didn't see one in Fire Red or Leaf Green. So how about that? And that's funny because Geodude was one of them, first ones I ever saw. I think it was either that or Ghastly. I remember seeing a shiny Ghastly on what is that? Sprout Tower Buzzsprout Tower. I think I may have seen it there. And then Geodude, I remember it was them. Like they're the 2 shiny Pokemon that. And I might still have them somewhere. I gotta. They might actually be on my home already. Pokemon Home already. So I gotta look for them, and then maybe one day I make an episode on the shiny, or I make a video, a short or something, showing the shiny Pokemon. And it probably has the dates when I caught them, so then I could show that as well. But crazy that we found a shiny Graveler. That's a special surprise there. Okay, but the grind must continue. We need to catch this Pokemon, and we need to catch them all. We have 100 to catch, so yeah, we're gonna get there eventually. And then we might catch these Pokemon again. Like I said, I was talking about it earlier on the Coliseum games. All right, you have to play Coliseum and Color of Darkness, the XD, Coliseum XD, to be able to have all the Gen 2 Pokemon in the Gen 3 games. So I never played them before, and I know there are people like them, and they're a whole different thing, and it's a whole different concept where there is no wild Pokemon. You catching Pokemon by snatching them, like we talked about before. So we'll see. I mean, maybe put in the comments. Yes, we love to see Coliseum, or we love to, you know, we want you to play this game first or that game first. So I could go ahead and take your comments and feedback and, you know, play those games in there. So looking at what we're missing, right, in our Pokemon here. So we have the starter lines, right? So I already marked them. Chikorita line, we're gonna get it from a quick play of gold, where we just get the starter and we bring it over. Cyndaquil, we're gonna have a gameplay of silver, where we're gonna get far enough where we could catch. I think Octillery is a fishing Pokemon that you could catch on the Lake of Rage by the Gyarados. I think is as soon as you can see it, maybe. So we might play it fast and try to get there as quick as possible. Marip is an early game, so that's an early game encounter. So we should be okay there. Then we gotta do some breeding, right? Get the second set of starters and whatnot. Get all the baby Pokemon. Then we have a couple evolutions that all we gotta do is train some Pokemon. Then we have the trade evolutions with the items. So 1, 2, 3, I see 4, 5 trade evolutions. Kingdra 6 trade evolutions. Porygon, and this shouldn't be too bad. Then the legendary Pokemons are available once you get the items, like the feathers and whatnot on the island and on top of the burning tower. And Celebi, since we're playing this on the virtual console, they added it as an event at the end. So with the GS ball, you can get Celebi. So, and then we had to find the two roaming Pokemon, two of the dogs. And then yeah, then it's training. So we're not doing too bad. It's a matter of catching some of the Pokemons, and then we're gonna have a trading stream where we trade everything from silver, and then we'll have a training training stream where we evolve all the Pokemons that we need to, right? Yeah, so I don't see us taking too long here. I feel like the hardest Pokemons are, we kind of catching them as we going now. So it's looking good. It's looking good. Yeah, I'm trying to see something quick. Togetic would be, we gotta get another one, so we gotta breed it. Or maybe we could bring the one from silver. Porygon, don't you buy it on the casino? So maybe we could do that with Porygon. Umbreon, so we gotta breed Espeon, get a Eevee, and then evolve it on the nighttime with happiness, right? So that one might take some time to bring it up, but since it's breeding, it will be a low level, and then we can give it haircuts and run him through the Pokemon League and whatnot, and it gets happiness up quickly. Tyrogue, I think that's given to us, and then we'll have to breed it to get another one, and then, you know, play with the EVs, and we could buy some like items like the Colosseum and whatnot, and, you know, play around until we get one. I think the evolution requires like the excuse me, the two stats to be the same for attack and defense. If they're the same, then we get him on top. The babies, we just have the babies. So we're good. We're making some good progress. Let me get here. You know, let me run here and see if we could get some Pokemons. I need to bring my I need to recover my PP. I don't have a ether. Another Graveler. We definitely don't need you now that we have our shiny. It'd be funny if we find another one. What would be good for the golem? We could trade it and get the shiny golem. Start working on a shiny pocket living dex. Oh my god, that would take so long. Like the only way I do that is if I do it on a newer generation game where the odds are boosted, or you could do things to boost the odds, right? Like the sandwiches or like you have the shiny charm at the end and things like that. But full odds living dex, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna look into it and see if somebody has done it in the original games, right? I'm not talking about, because I know, like for example, I know John Stone has done the live index for like the other generations, but he's using the newer games, like the legendaries. He's catching them in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon with the space vortex things that you could do, right? Because that's probably the only way. And I mean, and I know some Pokemon are shiny locked, so no matter what you do, you cannot get them shiny. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what we do about the shiny. I think shiny live index is gonna be hard, but depending on how we do on this one and how long it takes us to do a regular live index, we could have a challenge. And maybe we don't have the rule of the original games. Maybe we could play more like, you know, the newer games and try to do it that way. Like for Gen 1, a game that makes shiny a bit easier is Let's Go Pikachu. Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. So, and you get to keep them in the Kanto region. So that could be a way to do Gen 1. Gen 2, I don't know. I don't know what, because I don't think Hard Gold and Soul Silver make it any easier in terms of shiny hunting. So I would have to look to see what will make Gen 2 easier to shiny hunt. But well, looks talking about shiny hunt, this hunt here has not gone our way. You know, we're already committed, so that's why I'm running away from that level 20 Larvitar there, because we're committed to find this Pokemon. I don't think they lied to us. I think it's here around somewhere. Level 15, we can't use level 15 anyways. Here we go. I wonder if I'm doing something wrong. And that's why it's not showing up. Because I know like the other day I was looking for a Pokemon and there we go, yes! Finally, we found it. Let's go, let's go. He has entered the chat. Okay, alright, come on. You can't escape, you are asleep. Just stay on the ball now. Just stay in this ball. Let's go Ultra, yeah. Oh, and he woke up. Okay, come on. Put him to sleep again. Work. Oh, don't be like that. There we go. Okay, he's asleep. Ultra, let's go. We have 60 of these. We should be okay. Alright. Let me put Psyduck in and just get a little bit of damage. Just a little bit. Oh man, I'm afraid that I might kill it. Okay, that did nothing. Alright. I just need to bring him to yellow. Let's try again. 54. Okay, we have. Alright, we have 54 of these, and we have a bunch of Great Balls. And Great Ball are busted on Gen 2. So, alright, back to Jinx. We're gonna put him back to sleep. Okay, that's fine. Come on. Come on. There we go. That's fine. We're gonna try. try ultras. I think here we should spam ultras until something happens. Oh, come on. There we go. Welcome to the decks. Finally, the hard shell Pokemon. Finally, welcome to the team. Number 49. Now, should we try to find another one? I don't know. That one took a while. And I'm pretty sure we saw more than 100 encounters. So the odds there did not really help us. Should I catch this? Level 20. Yeah, we already managed to get our Pokemon, the one at least the one we needed. So let's put him to sleep here. Okay, that worked. I only had one move left, so right on time. And let's see, can we use a great and stay in it? Okay, you're asleep, that's good. I might die from the sandstorm, but that's okay. We're gonna catch it before. I believe in you. Come on. Alright. Let's go for the miracle. Yeah, I don't have that anymore, so there's nothing I could do here. Oof! I didn't think that was gonna kill. Oh man, didn't think that move was gonna kill. And I don't have. I think I checked. I don't have any ethers to recover the PP on my move, so it might be a good time to get out of here. And we did manage to complete the mission. We got the 1%er. It took us a little while. We got a shiny before we actually got it, but I feel like that's mission accomplished. And now we could go into other things that we need to do, breeding, bringing poke trading and all that from other games. So good. That was good. But I'm almost 2 hours here, but that's what it's all about. It's about grinding, so thanks for sticking through this absolute grind. Just be sure to like, comment, subscribe, because good things are coming in the next episode, and I'm hoping that at some point we get to actually battle Red, so that would be a good finale. So I appreciate it, all you guys joining, and I'm just gonna heal here really quick and move some Pokemon around. Let's see. What am I trying to do? There it is. Okay, so I have so I have enough Pokemon in the Larvitar family, and here is our shiny Graveler. You can see on the top right the little stars. Let's go. How about that? All right, that works. And here's Pupitar. Okay, and we do have 2 Larvitars, and one is already level 20, so we're good to complete the Tyranitar family. So guys, I really appreciate it for you staying through the grind and supporting the channel. And we're gonna keep on working on this living decks for Gen 2, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in.